Kitchen floor self-leveling is important, especially if you want the finished floor to look awesome. So in this tutorial, I'm going to share all the pro tips to make your project easier. Unfortunately, this small area isn't level. The main kitchen floor is level, but you can see there's a gap between the bottom of my level and the plywood subfloor. So I need to self-level this because I'm going to be using plank porcelain tiles, and they could possibly crack if the floor isn't level. The first step is to prep the walls and the floor. So I shop vac everything, and I'm going to be using great stuff gaps and cracks to fill in the gap between the wall and the floor. This is important because I don't want the self leveler to go into the basement or adjacent rooms. The next step is to use feather finish, and I'm using cold water and I mix this up per the directions. Really important to do that because I want a nice consistency that I can use on the floor. I just use a margin trowel to mix that up. So anywhere where I have a nail or screw penetration or a gap between the plywood, I apply the feather finish. This should cure in about 20 to 30 minutes. And you can see here, even though I'm not going to be self-leveling this area, the feather finish is great for feathering out transitions between adjacent panels of plywood. I just use my trowel, the flat side of it, and feather that out. This is going to be good for the tile outside the self-leveled area. After the great stuff foam has cured, I cut that back using an oscillating multi-tool. I cut down and across it, and then it just peels off the surfaces. You can actually speed up the cure of this by lightly spraying it with water. The next step is to use sill seal, and I apply silicone or a siliconized acrylic between the plywood and the floor, and then embed the sill seal into that. This is critical for any self-leveler because it's about an 1/8 inch thick, and it's providing the necessary expansion and contraction joint between the self-leveler and the wall. Then I just staple this in place. This is just one continual piece of the sill seal, which you can find in most home stores in the roofing or lumber area. I'm going to be using Ardex P51 primer for my self-leveler. I shake that vigorously and pour it onto the plywood. Then I use a weenie roller to spread it out. I'm not diluting the primer because that's what's called for in the directions for my self-leveler. This takes about a few hours to cure, and I highly recommend that you only use the primer that the self-leveler recommends. So stay within the manufacturer's recommendations for that. This next step is critical, and I'm going to use 16th inch horseshoe shims for it. I place the level on the floor, and then I slide a shim underneath it where I notice that the plywood isn't level. What I'm trying to do here is keep the level, in fact level, and see how many shims that I need to place between the bottom of the level and the plywood. In this case, it's about 4 or 5 shims in that corner. The reason why I have these is they serve as height indicators. When I pour the self-leveler, I want to make sure that it's going to be level and that I cover those shims. It's really important to have these in place so that you know when to stop the pour, especially if you're only doing a partial pour like in this situation. But even if I were doing a full room, I would use height indicators. So I do this every 12 inches across the span, and also I place my level diagonally across from one corner to the next to make sure that it remains level and I have the right number of height indicators in place. Now for the horseshoe shims, the other thing that I do is place a level across the span and just make sure that everything is as accurate as possible. I use a hot glue gun with a few dabs of hot glue to place this onto the plywood. Remember, it's prime plywood. And then I just stack them together using the hot glue gun. This will stick. Just make sure you use enough hot glue so that they don't pop off of the subfloor when you're pouring the self-leveler. That has happened to me before and it's no fun. But you can see all my height indicators are here and I'm good to go. For this project, I'm going to use Ardex K22F because I can pour this over plywood without using metal lath, and I can build it up to 1 1/4 inches thick. I'm also going to use a trowel to agitate it. More on that in a moment because it is important. The other thing that I do is use cold water and I measure out how much that I need for this. The water ratio is critical. For K22F, it's going to be a fairly fluid consistency, and I also use my dust vacuum system to pull out any of the dust that does pop up. I always add the water to the bucket and then I add the self-leveler next, and I use a dedicated mixing paddle and mixer for this. You can't use a drill. You need to use something that has a little bit more power, and I mix this up for about 2 to 3 minutes or until it's smooth, and then obviously I clean my paddle as soon as possible. I immediately pour the Ardex K22F and try to see how much I need in this area to cover all of the height indicators. Once I pour about 3/4 of the bucket, I then agitate it using my trowel. Surface tension can hold this in place, and that's why you need to agitate every single self leveler so you can move it around. I try to get this out to the edge of the area that needs to be self leveled. And then if I have to pour more, I do that within about 5 to 7 minutes. You only have about 8 or 10 minutes to do this pour before it starts to solidify. So you have to work quick and you have to feather this out if you're only doing a partial pour. And that's exactly what I did in this small little area. I'm checking to see if all the height indicators are covered. They are. I don't see any bubbles along the perimeter, and I simply let this set up in about 2 to 3 hours. Now, you can walk on this in about 3 hours, but I check to make sure that it is in fact level. It is across the different spans. And then once it cures, I can move on with the project. But what's most important here is that you can see the area is level, and that's going to be super critical for the plank floor. Even though I self-leveled this area, I still apply thin set mortar over top of it, and then I add my D-tread. This is an uncoupling membrane if you're not familiar with it, and it prevents the tile and the grout from cracking. You can also waterproof this, and that's why I use it in bathrooms. Then I can immediately set the plank floor, and it shouldn't crack over time. So hopefully these tips help you out with self-leveling a kitchen floor. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments.